Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone.
Before we get going, YouTube isn't live.
Okay, hold on. Let me check what's going
I don't
on.
even have anything to click on.
It says here it's streaming on YouTube. Hold on.
I see a red square that says live.
The last thing on there is 1726.
Hold on. I wonder if are we live on Facebook? Does anyone know?
I can look real quick. Well, not real quick, but
Oh,
I can never figure out how to find it on Facebook.
I have to type in the name.
hold on. Mine says that we
Yeah,
are.
we're on Facebook.
All right, everyone on Facebook, just give us a second because
I
I
think.
don't know if there's anyone on Facebook. Oh no, it shows me that we're live.
I see it in my upper left.
Seahorse Whisperer on YouTube, and there's nothing to click on for today.
I see this.
I'll renew it here and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, the date at the top says January 7th. I don't know if that matters.
Live stream come up.
What is going on? Hold on. Did I name it wrong? I don't think I thought I changed the name of it, but no, it should say 1/14/26.
Reload.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, actually
Just
on
on
Facebook? Maybe I Oh, it's you
YouTube
have it?
just come on live now.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
I have
right.
it.
So happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. It's open chat. We have some questions that we're going to go over, but feel free to ask any questions whenever you want to, and we will circle around and get back to them. So what is everyone drinking tonight?
Water. Ice water. It's almost 70 degrees here today. It feels like spring.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's not the same weather here, I can tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
I think we need to honestly start calling this like Water Wednesday, because none of us ever have wine except for sometimes when Kelly comes, but majority is water.
Very rare.
Anyways, we'll go straight into the questions. So I recently got some questions from someone in Singapore, and he has some seahorses, and he's having some problems with a weak snick. I talked to Ray a little bit about it, but I wanted to hear, Holly, what your opinions are, and potentially Kelly might join. We'll see. That would be great if she does, so we can hear her opinions too. So we can start. So I'll just read you out what he said. Okay. He said he has 5 seahorses in 160 liters. So that's, how much is that, Ray? Is that like 40? I think it was like 43
and
gallons.
How many liters?
160.
I forget now.
I can put it in my phone. I don't know liters.
42.
Okay. So for anyone who wants to work in gallons, Dan here, I could not get the online last week. I have the link for Restream, but it's not working.
Did you say 160 liters?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, 42.2 gallons. So like a little over 42 gallons. Okay.
Ray, could you send Dan the link, please?
See, I don't know how to contact him.
Oh, how do you normally contact him?
I haven't been able to contact Dan.
Oh? Who's the one that normally contacts?
I think Kelly last week gave him her email, and I think they connected there, but it was too late because we were just signing off.
Oh.
Like, I don't understand why he's not getting it. Now, Kelly thought that he can't access the Seahorse Whisperer on on Facebook because he's not a member. But um, I'm pretty sure that anybody can. And you put the link at Holly. You put the link at the top.
Hey, Dan, if you go to, can you message, like literally message anything to the Seahorse Whisper Facebook, and I'll send it to you there. We can try again. Oh, hold on. Facebook. Sorry, guys. I know we're taking a long time, but we need to get.
Well, you're on a bunch of different yeah.
Yeah, Dan.
You're on a bunch of different services. Maybe there's something that he's on as well besides Facebook that you are also on.
Hold on. I'll try to send it one more time through this, and then we'll see if he just sends a message potentially.
So I think there's a problem with his setup because the link it can't not work. Like when it works for everybody else and not for Dan, the problem's at Dan's end.
There's only one we use. It's always the same one.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Dan, if you just want to try that a few more times, I'm not 100% sure. I will.
Dan, if you plug in Ray Ford in Messenger, when it comes up, there will be a picture of me in it. It's small, but it's kind of distinctive with the glasses and the white hair and so on.
Yeah, that would be great if we could, because I just kind of want to get into talking, but I also do want to get Dan on.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Dan.
Ta-da.
It finally worked for him?
Well, I sent him the link.
Oh, I see.
Again, but he'll try, I guess.
How'd you send it?
Just through Facebook again. I don't know. We'll try that. Anyways, while Dan continues to try that, I want to get back into the subject of the seahorses. So, all right. So we have 5. Dan, whenever you join, I'll let you in. You know the drill. So we have someone with 5 seahorses in a 160-liter tank or 42 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for about 6 months with an auto fleece filter and skimmer. Recently, one of the females passed away due to internal gas bubble disease. Then there were 4 left, and 2 of them developed a weak snick about 3 weeks ago. He's done a freshwater dip, but both of them had no reaction at all, even with 12 minutes. So I'm ruling out parasites. This is what he's saying. The 2 seahorses with the weak snick are still eating, just that now and again they'll still miss snicks. And I can tell the snick is weak. I've done many water changes in the past 3 weeks, but it doesn't seem to be improving. Are there any counter medicine or antibiotics I can use? And so he lives in Singapore, so setting up a quarantine tank is a bit challenging because he's short of chillers. Usually, if I have to give them a bath, I put them in a 4-liter tub floating in my display tank. So we'll start off with Ray. I know Dan is here. Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Hi. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Did you hear a little bit about what we were talking about?
Yes, but I don't want to interrupt you. Just please
Mhm.
go on, and then I had some things to ask about and talk about later, but I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, yeah, we'll
Please.
just go through this quickly. I
Mhm.
needed to
Hey,
help someone, and then we'll,
Mhm.
of course, get to everyone else's stuff as well. So I would start number one with our tank size. Does anyone want to touch on what's going on with the tank size with 4 seahorses in a 40
Obviously too
gallon?
small,
Yeah.
way too small.
And for anyone who's new, why is that a problem to have a small tank?
Mainly because water quality can degrade so fast with respect to seahorse needs, and especially dissolved organics. And when he's new into it, and with the little information that he appears to have, uh, it's doubtful he was doing sufficient to be able to get the water, or to keep the water quality so that nothing was going to happen to the seahorses. So gradually it degraded over time, and he lost the one to internal gas bubble disease, he felt. And the weak snick he was complaining about. Normally, that is a parasitic thing. I've never come across a bacterial thing that causes weak snick. But the weak snick, too, a lot of people think weak snick when they're getting intermittent misses now and then. But in my experience, lots of seahorses throughout their lives miss quite often. Uh,
Mine do.
yeah, so I'm not so concerned about the weak snick at this point, because he's saying they still are eating. It's just an occasional thing that they're
Mhm.
missing.
Yeah.
But the main thing we have to do is get him to upgrade his protocols, cleaning, the feeding regimen, so that he's not overfeeding, but making sure that's cleaned up afterwards, and like filters cleaned the minimum twice a week. Um, Mainly because of that overstocking, he has to do more than what the average person would going in with a tank of recommended size.
Okay. And while we talk about the weak snick, so we've actually have some videos as well that I want to show you guys. And I want your opinion on whether you right, he knows his seahorses best, I would say that, of like, their habits, what they
Yeah.
normally look like. Some of these videos I would say that I'm not seeing anything too bad, but then there's some that like maybe they're a little slower. I'm not. So I'll share my
Mhm.
screen here and I'll show you guys these videos.
I'll tell you, the seahorses that I have left now, they all have trouble eating, and they've had trouble eating for years. So, like Ray says, that's not always.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to eat, but yeah, they miss, stuff goes everywhere. They get half a thing. Yeah.
His seahorses, I think he said he's had them for, here, I don't want to get it
Did he
wrong.
say 6 months?
6 months.
Or I think 6 months you said earlier when you were reading the thing.
Yeah, something like that. Here, sharing. One sec, it's loading. Can you guys see that?
Well, I could see your screen. It's not to the
Yeah.
thing yet. There we go.
Okay. So this is the first video. So there's the mysis down here, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she found another one. She's pretty.
Yeah, they are really nice.
Looks like reed eye.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's having trouble with that one. That
Yeah, I've noticed that they do a
Betty
lot
does
of
that all the time.
Yeah.
where they kind of hold it here, and then that's
I see no problem with that one.
No, she might have even decided she didn't want that one. Like she part ate it and spit it out. I see seahorses do that a lot.
and then there's this guy. I'm not seeing
Now
too
she
much
ate it. Yeah, she got it down. That one she gave it a little
like
extra.
maybe that they're a little slow, but like I was honestly more surprised of you see it especially in this video, like they're all just laying on the ground.
Well, mine do that too. Like I said, that's not new to me. All my seahorses lay on the ground.
Well, okay, your seahorses are also like really old.
Yeah, but you know, they've done it
So-
since they were a little over a year, I want to say. They were pretty, yeah, no,
really?
they were swimmers till they were maybe between a year and 2 years, I want to say. And right around that time, yeah, they decided they didn't want to be swimmers. Other than Sadie, she liked to swim till the day she died. She was the first seahorse I had that passed actually sitting up, hitched. So, but
Wow.
no, most of my seahorses.
Yeah, I guess it's different. Also, like it's different breeding lines. Like I mean, mine aren't very old yet, but like they've always been like super active.
Can you
Yeah.
show us the one
Right,
that
so-
looks the worst?
I'm not sure which one out of these videos looks the worst. He just kind of sent me these ones. Hold on. Oh, is that it? Yeah, that's it for that one. I don't remember which. Oh, there's no more. So
Yeah, they're just hunting on the bottom.
So do you guys? Would you guys say they
Yeah.
look fine?
I
Yeah,
see
I do.
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I don't
They
see.
just don't look very hungry. Like they're just looking around. They're kind of considering it. Some of that's normal seahorse, but some of it was mine when especially when they weren't very hungry. They were just like somebody walking by a salad bar, and they're like,
Yeah,
I'll
mine are
grab a
lazy.
couple olives. I'll grab a couple.
Mine are lazy like that too. If the food is out of reach, they just look at it and like
You have
spoiled though. They know I'll pick it up with the turkey baster and move it closer to them. So
Yeah, they know mom or dad's there to help. Yeah.
yeah.
Jan, your experience, you had a system that was severely overloaded. What all did you do to be successful?
Well, I've been wondering about that since we talked about that, Ray, because it was a revelation to me that it was overloaded, and now a lot more makes sense about my problems with the red algae growing because of the extra nutrients in the water. But the water, I did my water changes. I'm not going to say I'm not going to stand here, swear on a Bible and say that I did it every week. This percent. I did it on average every 2 to 3 weeks, probably a 10 to 20% change depending on what kind of results I was getting on nitrates. Nitrates were my constant enemy, and now I know a bit more. So, but to answer your question, Ray, I used oversized everything. I had the 60.
So-
It was a 65-gallon tank. I'm sorry.
So I'm just curious because I don't think I was here when you guys talked about overloading. I'm just curious how overloaded your tank was.
I had 4 pairs of Ocean Rider erectus. They all lived at least 6 years. Some of them almost 7 or 7. The last of them died in about in the 7th year.
And how big was your tank?
65-gallon. I believe it was considered a 65-gallon high. I want to say it was 24 deep. And what would that be? Anybody have the measurements? 60. It was an oceanic 65. So it was a good quality tank. It was 24. I know it was 24 tall. It was high. So it was 24 by 20.
Aren't as important as the overall volume.
Yeah,
What's
you have a
that?
sump. Like, did you have a sump?
What counts?
Yeah, so I had the 65 high with a approximately 20-gallon, might have been more, sump. And I did the dividers in the sump myself. I, of course, did the intake area with a pre-filter like a sock. I used a sock often, like a nylon sock. Then I
Mhm.
used an area where the skimmer was. I used a skimmer that was rated, I think, for 130 to 100, maybe even 150 gallon. And I just
Mhm.
kept tuning it every couple days. I would check it no matter how stable it stayed. I had cameras on the sump and I had cameras on the tank also. So I
Mhm.
could see the sump um, remotely on my phone, and I could see I had a computer system on it, monitored pH, salinity, temperature, send auto alerts to my phone, that kind of thing. But I had a basic LED light again going to the filtration, about a 20-gallon sump on the 65-gallon tank. Had the basic add-on overflow. It was not drilled for sump. Had an overflow on it. Ran the like I said, the skimmer very carefully, very precisely. Try to get a nice consistency foam, even with water level changes, which didn't do happen much because I also used auto top off. I used top off on the computer system. Instead of using a sensor that would fail, I used time intervals. And then I would adjust it by season depending on heating and air conditioning, how much evaporation of fresh water went out. And then I'd do a quick calculation, trial and error over a day or two, and get it to how long the drip pump, I can't remember what it was called, but you all know it. It's this pump that every Aquarius knows. It can pull water as well as push water. It's a special slow drip pump, almost like an IV pump. And you can use an IV pump for these actually, if you can find them cheap or refurbed. So I did the pump dripping in fresh water, and then I would adjust the intervals to do it ideally 2 times a day at least, sometimes 3 times a day. If the if this woods we heated with a wood stove for 25 years, and the wood stove, unfortunately, was in the same room as the aquariums. So the evaporation level skyrocketed in the winter when the wood stove was going. So I would keep that interval, I would up it to 3 intervals, and then it wasn't as much fresh water going in at any one time. So their salinity varied very little. There was very little change in salinity. pH I monitored very closely. So to answer your question, Ray, all that equipment, oversized sump, oversized skimmer, filter sock, foam filters of 2 different density or porosity or filter level in between the first section with the skimmer. I'm sorry, the first section with the sock, the second section with the skimmer, the third section with the return pump. So there was 2 filter pieces in between that as well. Filter sock. So filter sock on the intake area of the sump, skimmer area, filter in between that, filter in between the return pump, and then back to it. And like I said, I had a spray bar set up in a square, sort of like a window pane divider, like a square
Mhm.
configuration so I made a square out of tubing. Then I put joiners at 90-degree joiners to put a center section to make a whole spray wall. That way I could have higher level, high volume, low velocity water
Mhm.
flow. I
Mhm.
wanted to be able to turn over large amounts of water in a small, without kicking my seahorses all around like they were in a
Mhm.
soccer game.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so then I also put in a UV filter on the side with a separate pump in the return area, and I used a UV that was rated for about 150 gallons, and I kept that quartz glass clean. I kept the bulb updated, everything to try to kill off any pathogens I could to avoid any chemical. So I relied on an oversized skimmer and UV to keep the water freer of organics and things that would invite disease. Very careful about introducing anything to the aquarium. That's how I did it.
Um, just a couple comments. First of all, I don't worry about salinity going down. Uh, Seahorses in the wild often are in estuaries where there'll be a storm and then sudden uh, flow of fresh water from the land out into the estuary where they are
Mhm.
to drop the salinity. It's
Yeah.
better. It's easy for them to handle going down. It's not good for them to handle it going up fast. But
Okay.
that normally doesn't happen because for the salinity to return back to normal. It's a slow process, no matter what it is. Evaporation in a tank or in the estuary where the runoff stops and gradually it comes back to normal. The other thing, UV, a lot of people use UVs. The unfortunate part about UV is almost all the pathogens that affect seahorses are benthic in nature, not pelagic. And UV is only going to work on pelagic pathogens that will go through that UV. The benthic ones are surface dwellers that are always on surfaces, so they're not going through that UV. There are a few that are benthic, but they have a stage where they're pelagic, and so it can work on them, but most of them are strictly benthic the whole time. If you have other things in the tank, sometimes the UV helps with the other things that tank mates you might have in the tank. But
Right.
as far as the seahorses themselves, um, it hasn't been shown that the UV does an awful lot for them. Now, your oversized skimmer, that's probably the biggest thing that you had going for you. I like to have even more oversized than that. I like about 4 times over. But
That's
well,
what mine is. Yeah, mine's a 4 times. But
mine
I'm
are,
not great at tuning it is a problem too. I've problems getting it right.
I built my own skimmers, so they were a lot more than 4 times over. I built
Yeah.
counter current skimmers that were 4-inch diameter tubes, about 6 foot tall.
Wow.
And when you crank it up, I've got a picture, or I had pictures on my website is down. Looks like Angel Fire is going out of business, so I've lost everything. My website's all gone, I think. But
Oh
um, I used to post pictures. I have a foot cube box at the top of one of the skimmers, and I took this picture when I misadjusted it and didn't check it again soon enough. Next time I went down, the box is full and it's close to the ceiling and it's all up. The foam's all on the ceiling on it.
Mm.
no.
Wow.
I remember that. Right, you telling me about that.
It's like the famous scene from the Brady Bunch where they put too much detergent in the washing machine. Yeah. It just foams up like a big. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
So
mine,
Ray or
I
Holly or
know.
Sophie?
It'll be like full of water, but I
Yeah.
won't see it foaming. Like I missed the part where the foam was coming up to where I could have turned it down. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's not. Next thing I know, the cup's full of water, and I'm like, how'd that happen?
I know the skimmer for me,
I hate the
even
skimmer.
even using the freshwater, drip to replace the evaporation, and that helped keep, of course, the sump level more consistent, which helped keep the skimmer more consistent. So I want to ask you all. I had never. It's like one of the great questions of aquarium culture is, do you all know how to tune a skimmer well, easily, or is there like a one-all
I
answer,
have
or is it something you have to
always
play with?
Well, I have always wished, and I've told these guys, I've told Ray and Kelly this before, because I've only done saltwater on my own. I've never had anybody who actually knows how to do saltwater well come over and help me with my equipment. I've always kind of winged it.
Yeah.
And so the skimmer's one thing that I fight with all the time. And well, because when I feed the seahorses, I turn the pump off to the tank, and when I do their cleaning, I turn the pump off to the tank. So, like you said, the water in the sump is like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
and that variation is going to lift.
never is never tuned right because
Yeah.
I get frustrated with it and don't do it. I can't,
Yeah.
it takes me forever to get it right every time. And so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm kind of like, forget it. I'm just,
I'm telling you,
it's
I'm
not
going to work on a skimmer
overflowing. I'm
design.
okay.
I think it's
I'm
a thing that a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people have trouble with, but there's a lot of people that seem to have no problem dialing them in. And
I
then there's
know.
others that I think have problems with specific models because they all don't tune up the same way.
No, no. And I'm like, I'm starting to think like I like to work on inventions and mechanical things and just all kind of different ideas and inventions. Just most of them don't come to fruition. Obviously, I wouldn't, I would be a famous inventor. But I'm convinced that the person who creates a skimmer with some kind of technology or additional valves or additional, I don't know if it's a pressurization thing,
It
if
started
it's
back in the 30s and 40s, Dan.
hmm,
Would you believe that it was for sewage treatment plants for
well,
cities,
yeah,
towns, and so on?
yeah,
They developed skimmers then as part of the treatment for outgoing water to treat it before it was passed out into rivers, lakes, whatever. And it works with fresh water on for sewage treatment plants because the levels of the organics are so high that it will work there. If you try to use it on a freshwater tank, you're not going to have much success because the levels just aren't high enough. However, with salt water, the salt water itself changes the whole dynamics of things so that the foam is much, it forms much on a much easier basis so that you're able to remove that the organics from the contacts with the bubbles as they're going up and rising. Uh, and if you experiment with a skimmer and use water, say at the 1.02426 range, and then start going down and get down, say 1.015, you'll find that your skimmer is not going to work anywhere near as well.
Maybe that's part of it too, because I keep my tank low salinity.
do
I'm
you
like 1.020, 1.021.
1.020, you're not going to notice a big difference from
Mm,
2.4 and 2.6. But when you get down to 15 or lower, it's a significant change there. And progressively, as you go down, the worse it gets. If you use brackish water, if you've got a brackish tank, a skimmer won't work as well, anywhere near as well in a brackish tank.
Yeah, the water density is just not enough. I guess it's water density, right, or specific gravity.
Uh, no,
I mean, no, I don't know how
I
to
don't
say
think it's
it
that. I
right.
think it's the salt that has something the salt changes the structure
Because
somehow so that the foam works. I can't
right,
explain it. I have cognitive impairment, and to go over something that I studied and researched, 30 years ago, uh, I just don't have the capability to remember everything. Uh,
right. I've had some cognitive things myself. We can talk about that offline. I'm gonna send my some personal info in the private chat.
anyway, for this fellow, I'm not sure whether he's the one in Singapore. I'm not sure if he talked about all the equipment that he has. Did he give you anything, Sophie?
She had to do something with. She had a bearded dragon she had to tend to.
Oh,
Oh
She put
yeah,
in the private chat.
feeding the pets. Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Ray. I'm just yeah,
did
I
he
have my
say he had
bearded
a
dragon.
skimmer?
I have a bearded dragon who needs her medication before she goes to sleep, and I didn't realize that she needed her medication today. So I'm just doing that quickly. What was your question?
Did he tell you what equipment he had, like the filtration, whether he had
Um,
skimmer or not, or used carbon reactor or anything?
A skimmer, I remember, was part of it. You read.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay,
Let me
but
to
was it
scroll up.
a suitably oversized one? Minimum one for well, minimum 320 liters. It would.
He said he has an auto fleece filter, so I don't know what an auto fleece filter is.
Yeah, I don't know
A
either.
skimmer, etc. And then
Yeah, he wasn't clear, I don't think, a very on the setup.
If the skimmer is just suitable for his 160 liters, it's not going to do anything to help for seahorses. It's just not effective enough to be able to remove enough of the dissolved organics.
so what would be your schedule that you say, like, what would be your schedule kind of to get his water back on track?
Well, it sounds like he's been doing major water changes now, but as I mentioned when I was emailing you, he has to do a few things. First of all, it all starts with your feeding regimen. You need a you need to feed as much as they will eat in 12 to 15 minutes and no more. If you're feeding more, then the food is passing through the seahorse without being fully processed because they have a rudimentary digestive tract with no stomach. And so any extra that you're passing out is going to have excess nutrient in it just due to the fact that it's impossible for it to do any more extraction and to do it fast enough. So you want to load up the digestive tract, but then you don't want it to pass out until it's had time in the digestive tract to be able to process and remove some of that nutrient. It can't remove as much as, say, the average fish would, but you want it there for as long as possible. So it's best to feed more times a day. And my personal preference is 4 times a day, only what they will eat in that 12 to 15 minutes. And a lot of people say, well, they can't spread out 4 times a day. Well, the thing is, you can get up in the morning, you can feed them, and if you can get, say, half an hour from when they quit feeding one, half an hour before you feed them again, that's sufficient for them to get what's in the digestive tract there to extract some nutrients. So they're not passing the nutrient-laden food out into the water column. That just increases the possibility of the dissolved organic level increasing over time. So say half an hour between, the longer you go in between, the better, but half an hour is sufficient. And so if you come back after work type of thing, you feed them again, then feed them again before you go to bed. Like it's not a hard thing to work out. Um, Everybody thinks that, well, you got to spread it out evenly. Well, they don't get their food evenly when they're eating in the ocean, but they don't get it all at once like they do in a tank. It's spread out through the day. But even for the seahorses in the wild, they have periods where they have lots of food coming by and they can feed on it. Then there'll be periods where the currents just aren't carrying anything for them to pick on, and they'll have a period of time with very little to feed on. So it's not like it's critical to have it evenly spaced out. The most important thing is to feed them just what they can handle at a given time without passing it through unprocessed, and to do it enough times in the day so that they have sufficient nutrient to round out their bodies so that their sides are uh, convex, not concave, and not straight. If the sides of your seahorse are straight, it needs to have more nutrition, and it's not something that comes in a week or 2 weeks. You're going to have to upgrade the feeding regimen so that they're getting more nutrition over a period of time, and it may take months for that to start rounding out again. If it's convex and it's sort of caving in on the sides, it's going to take even longer.
Mm-hmm. I think Ray mentions this like concave, straight, and convex once every Wednesday. But no, it's
Well, I
it's
think it's
really
important because
useful.
I see so many people showing their seahorses and they're straight-sided or concave.
Mm-hmm.
And the odds of them living 5 to 7
Well,
years are pretty slim if they're going to stay that way.
Yeah, I
mine,
mean, to be
Betty
honest,
is. She has always been concave. My seahorse Betty, and she's my biggest eater. But
mm,
she
I
has
think it
always
depends
been skinny. Yeah,
because,
she'll
like, for
eat.
mine, I feed them 4 times a day, and they're just
Mhm.
like they've never become. I don't even understand how you guys
Well,
get
I
your.
have
What
ones that
species are they?
are.
What
I've
they
had ones that are concave and ones that are round in the same. Like I said, Betty's always been that way, which I don't get because she eats more than the others. I mean, the other two that I have left, they'll skip meals sometimes. Like they're not as interested in the food. She never misses a meal. And she'll sit and eat theirs when they're not eating, but yet she's always the skinniest one.
but they don't have to be really rounded. They just have to be rounded enough so it's not straight-sided.
And Sophie and Holly, what species do you have? Is it Erectus?
I have erectus, yeah, and mine are all over 5 years old now.
No.
So
Yeah, mine are erectus too, but they're much younger than
they're
Holly's.
younger, yeah. I have
Anyway,
the ones
to get
left
back
that
to
are raised.
what we were talking about on that fellow, like it
Oh yeah,
starts with the feeding program, and then also he has to be sure to clean out anything that traps uneaten food and detritus has to be cleaned out minimum twice a week. So if it's a
Mhm.
filter, canister filter, hang on back filter,
I
whatever,
think he has a sump. I believe he has a sump.
Yeah, I think he said he did. And I always siphon out after I feed them too, because I mean, my seahorses are messy eaters. Like I was saying, they'll eat like a half a mysis and spit the rest out. And there's, they fall in a pile of mysis and scatter it everywhere, and then nobody wants to go chase after it.
with a,
They're messy eaters. So
usually with a sump though, they're going to have a filter sock, and that's got to be cleaned out minimum twice a week.
yeah,
The more often, the better.
it's a
Um,
lot of
but
filtration, a lot
also,
of making sure the uneaten food gets
if
out
you
of there
don't have
right
any,
after you eat.
if you don't have any filters that are geared to pick up the stuff that's floating in the water, um, like one of the reasons we like to have high flow in the seahorse tank is to keep stuff in suspension long enough for filters to pick it up. If you don't have that and it's settling out in the sump with no filter or sock or something, then it's going to decay and release the nutrient. And that's increasing your dissolved organics. So it's not an ideal situation to have a sump with no filtration or no sock. You're going to have more problems that way.
So you need to have mechanical filtration. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, a lot
better.
of
Yeah.
mechanical filtration.
Um, Holly and I kind of like power heads with quick filter attachments on them because they are so easy to clean out. I've got
Mhm.
a canister filter that I used to use on some saltwater tanks that I had, but I would never use it on a seahorse tank because you still have to clean it out before that stuff starts decaying much, which means twice a week minimum. And a canister filter is a pain in the butt
Mhm.
to clean out. So most of the time, if you've got a canister filter, you you might start off cleaning it off like you should, but you kind of end up, oh well, I can skip it this time.
Mhm.
And then you skip it again a little bit later on, and each time you do that, your dissolved organic level is starting to rise, and it gradually rises over a period of time. And all your test kits may be showing everything is great, but dissolved organics that we don't have a test kit for are gradually rising. And we have found over the years that it's synonymous with pathogen expansion. As the DO levels rise, the nasty bacteria and the parasitic action, that all multiplies, and especially if it's over 74 degrees temperature. So it's a combination of a lot of things in there. But and we can't say that the dissolved organics are causing this expansion of the pathogens. All we know is that it's synonymous with it. When the dissolved organic levels go up, the levels of the pathogens also increase. So anyway, he's got to get into that point where cleaning out filtration sufficient and doing proper husbandry, like vacuuming up whatever's left in the tank, not letting it decay in there, blowing around the tank so that you're dislodging stuff that you can't see and getting that removed, so that if you don't have filters to take it out, then you have to take it out yourself with a vacuum or just during a water change. And then again, sufficient and sufficient frequency and sufficient volumes of water changes too. And it's not the same for everybody because there are so many variables, starting with that feeding program. You don't feed exactly the same as somebody else, and you may have the same tank and the same equipment, but still there will be something different, even to the point where your seahorses may feed different. And there'll be something different there. So your regimen may not be the same for everything as what somebody else's is. So it's a case of, I can't tell you what to do for your particular tank. I can tell you that you set up and you do what you think is needed for keeping them alive. And as soon as you find that something appears to be off, then upgrade your protocols. And then again, be wary. And then if something still starts to develop down the road, and it may be 8 months down the road before it happens. There's many tanks where the dissolved organic levels were shown to increase in the latter part of a year because they were doing sufficient almost, but not quite. And then there's other tanks that were nowhere near sufficient, and the DO levels are up in just a matter of 2 to 4 months. But
now I want to ask you a question for all of you. Let's say we're seeing, maybe out of these videos, we're not seeing it quite correctly, and maybe he is noticing more, right? Because they're his seahorses, right? So he would know them better. And if it truly is, if they have a weak SNC, can it be, if it's not, because if the freshwater dip didn't show anything, probably not like external parasites. So
I can't help because I've never seen weak SNC that was caused by anything but parasitic action like ciliates. And so if
I always associate it with ciliates.
Yeah, the ciliates, the expansion gets in around the gills and starts affecting their oxygen exchange, as well as it develops in the jaw as well and affects that SNC action. And I don't know of any bacteria affliction that will cause anything similar to it. So unfortunately, I don't have any answer for them for that. But like I said, if they're still eating, and if they're eating sufficient, then I'm not going to worry about it so much. Just if it's a concern to them, just keep an eye on to see if they start missing a lot more. And if they start missing a lot more, okay, then I'd start worrying about it. But then again, I don't have an answer for them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's looked at the videos, and I wasn't really sure if there was anything with them, because it does look like it's catching mysis. But
yeah, I've had seahorses have what I thought was weak SNC for years
Oh, they were.
and wasn't able to do anything about. I mean, usually what's happened in my experience is they'll eventually stop eating. Like they won't eat at all. And then usually, I mean, I've had seahorses a couple years back. I lost a couple seahorses and I did the freshwater dip and they had stopped eating, but they didn't. And even Ray saw my video and he says, I don't think they're reacting enough that there's a ciliate problem. Well, I never did find out what was, why they stopped eating, what was wrong with them. I will assume it's a bacterial infection, but it would have to be completely internal because they never showed any outside signs of having anything wrong.
But
So
stopping eating is different
you
from weak neck.
know.
If they were eating up to the
Mhm.
point where they just stopped eating, and there's
Mhm.
no significant weak SNC, like if they're missing most of their food because of a weak SNC and then dying, okay, then that's I've never found anything other than parasitic action for that. But there's all sorts that will stop eating and die, and it actually can take them 3 to 4 months to die once they stop
Mhm.
eating.
Mhm.
And people don't understand that, but that's just the
Yep.
nature of the beast. They can live a long time. And the ones that just stop eating, that's usually a bacterial problem, and it can be uh, an organ problem where bacteria has affected an organ, or it might be just the bacteria itself that's doing something internally. I don't think any of the pathology that I've seen, I don't think anybody has actually determined absolutely for sure what the cause was. Um, so for the
Mhm.
most part, it's they determine organ failure and
Mhm.
they assume bacterial in nature because they were able to do testing and find the bacteria, but they just didn't know the actual process of how the bacteria um,
Mhm.
got to stop them from eating and then eventually die.
And
Okay.
this goes beyond my experience. And I mean, I was lucky in a lot of ways. And like we've
Mhm.
talked about, I had 8 seahorses in a 65 gallon, and I
Mhm.
never really, the ones that I had, they were typically they snicked pretty hard. They, there
Mhm.
was a little snap to their head. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
that's
could
what
usually
mine
Like
did.
see,
Yeah.
and then
fingers.
I called it
Yep.
their exhaust out
But
the
then
gills.
there are
Yeah.
people that they do everything wrong and their seahorses manage to survive. And
Mhm.
Yeah,
part of this, in my opinion, is because they manage to have seahorses with a high immune capability.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I'm
Seahorses,
not sure, Ray, if Dan had so many that he just managed to get all the ones with the good immune systems.
that if they from all one batch, um, if they
Mhm.
came out of all one batch, it could have been that in that batch they were particularly healthy and their immune systems were very good.
Yeah.
There could have been some others that were being produced there in the same facility that the adults didn't have the same capability of producing fry that had as high a capability, and people would get those ones, and then they would have problems a lot easier than what Dan had. I've had seahorses that like I shake my head. I couldn't believe that they were still surviving. And I've had others where I worked
Mhm.
my ass off to keep them alive and still lost them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's 21 years of, quite a variety with 7 different
Yeah.
species.
So you've seen a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you have, right? Like I said, I just had the one. Now I did get all 8 of them at the same time. I don't know what their history was before I had them, but they came from Ocean
Well,
Rider.
they were from Ocean Rider, and this was also longer ago, wasn't it? This wasn't real recent that you
Yeah,
had
I
them.
got them, I believe, in 2008. It was late
Uh,
2008 or 2009.
okay.
Sorry, I'm having
Now, it's
trouble thinking here.
interesting because I know Kelly has told me this that she thinks that seahorses in general were better quality back then. She's
Really?
told me this, like hardier.
Huh.
I would say honestly that might be true. I feel like
Hmm. That's strange.
I'm speaking from experience. Like we don't have enough seahorses, like seahorse lines coming in,
Mhm.
so it might be a potentially like inbreeding sort of problem.
But we
Yeah.
used to have a lot more.
Mhm. Mhm.
Pardon?
We used to have a lot more sources.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So potential if inbreeding would change that.
That's concerning too because I'm
Well,
thinking about.
Ocean Rider's been around a long time, and I've always heard good things about them.
Mhm.
I remember Cheryl Taylor had some seahorses from Ocean Rider that she was really pleased with.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember back when Ocean Rider wouldn't allow you to raise fry from seahorses they sold you.
I had heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
I had no choice in the matter, although I didn't raise them to
Yeah. They
adulthood.
were just born. Yeah.
They just kept having just batches of babies
You
over
weren't
and over
allowed
and
to
over.
raise them, and they
Huh.
claimed they had the rights to any offspring that they would produce, and you weren't allowed to grow them up and sell them. They were trying to prevent competition.
Yeah, yeah. So
But it
no,
had
that
to
it's
be,
That's too
concerning.
bad because we sure could use it.
I was going to say,
Use competition now.
but I think Dan went through. Dan would replace his stock. I know, for instance, the Reed Eye. I remember
Mhm.
one time he spent $800 on a pair for brood for breeding stock. We got them out
Uh-huh.
of Brazil for the
Uh-huh.
Reed Eye, but I know that he was going on for quite a while before
Mhm.
he would change that breeding stock on them. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I have. If I did know, I don't remember just how many. What do they call it? I forget. There's a word for the F1, the F2, F3, and F4.
Oh,
There's,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
word for that evolution of that, and I don't
yeah.
remember how far.
like lineages.
Well, like you produce fry, and then you take some from there, and you produce fry from them, and
Like
then
the
Oh, okay.
first generation is F1, and then
Right,
if
right.
yeah, and then the
Okay.
next is F2. Yeah.
It's concerning to me because I'm looking to set up a new tank eventually, probably in the next year, maybe in the next few months. I had actually started in December to get a few little things, and then I had some health issues. I was in the hospital on December 15th. So yeah, and I've had, as a result, I've had some problems with my memory.
Mhm.
But I'm doing pretty good now. But I know Kelly last week, Kelly was talking about setting up a webcam or starting a Seahorse tank and setting up a cam as part
Yeah,
of the Seahorse Whisperer channel.
yeah.
And that really interested me because that's what I've been thinking of doing is
Uh-huh.
starting probably a small tank, probably just two pairs, depending on
Mhm.
what size tank I can go with. I would
Uh,
like to have one, well, I say one pair. I would like to have two pairs just for the social aspect of it.
mhm.
But I don't know what size tank would you need
The
ideally.
more they're more fun, I think, when you have more seahorses. But the thing is, you need so much water volume. The more
Yeah.
seahorses you have, I mean, honestly, because I've had my erectus so many years. I mean, the ones I lost recently around 7 years old, big, like 9 inches big. I
Hmm.
mean, my 50-gallon tank was, I wouldn't say was too big for a pair, even.
Right.
And I have 3 in there now. There's just 3.
Hmm.
And it seems big for them, but they're doing well. And seahorses like a lot of space. They like to explore, especially when they're young and active. So I always think the bigger the better. Even
Yeah.
for just a pair, I'd still do like maybe 40, 50 gallons for a
Yeah.
pair even. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I think
Makes
it's
things more
30
forgiving.
gallons a pair, right? It's 30 gallons for a pair, right? And then another 15 for every seahorse on top of that.
No, that's what it used to be. But then Dan changed that, and Dan started recommending 30 straight across. If you have 6, you need 90 gallons.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what
Sounds
he
about
found.
right.
He found that his clients that had the larger volumes were much
Mhm.
more successful than the ones
Yeah,
that were working with the 30 and the 15 rule. The
I
30 and the
would
15
say
rule,
that.
that's been back to when I started back 2002.
Gotcha.
That's what they had then. But
Well,
back
it
then, they
makes
used to
sense.
recommend
Yeah, from what
more.
I've seen. I mean, just having my own seahorses, I'd say, they like a lot of space, and the more water volume, the better they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more stability, like Ray was saying. It just
Yeah.
you have more water, it takes more to change that water
Yeah, and
chemistry or properties.
the organics
Mhm.
don't build up as fast the more water volume you have.
Sophie, what do you have in the tank behind you?
I have my 2 seahorses. So I have the 2 Erectus.
Oh,
Then
okay.
I've got a few tank mates in there with them. But yeah, that's my seahorse tank behind me. It's a
So what
little
do you
bit
have?
on the smaller side. Pardon?
What do you have in there with the seahorses? What do
I
you like?
have,
What would you recommend, kind of thing?
I would personally, I like having tank mates. It gives like your tank more life in general.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some, like my cleaning crew, basically. I have a few hermit crabs. I don't know if I would recommend totally to get hermit crabs or if I would just say snails. I've had a few problems with my hermit crabs. I also have a conch in there, and then I have a goby, a pistol shrimp. I like them because they
Hmm.
stay under the rocks, so don't bother my
Yeah,
seahorses.
I
And then
have
I
one
have
in my seahorse tank. Yep, I have
Yeah,
that.
the
Yep.
goby
they're
as
so
well.
cool.
It is cool how
I
they
love
pair
the
up.
pair. And then I also have 2 peppermint shrimp. Peppermint shrimp are also a little bit of a menace towards like menace towards the seahorses. No, they kind of steal the food
Oh, really?
when the food comes.
Everybody does.
Yeah,
Everybody loves food. Yeah, all the cleanup. Because I have a crab. It's a blue-legged crab, a little blue-legged crab. He's 7 years old now. I've never had a crab this long, but he survived from when I bought my cleanup crew when I first started the tank years ago.
I feel like
So
hermit crabs
I
aren't supposed to live
still
that
have
long.
him, and he's sweet with the seahorses. He doesn't. None of my crabs were ever a problem with the seahorses, but they all like to eat with the seahorses.
See,
So
I just
they'll come
found
and
out.
sit at the seahorse dish and chow down with them. That's why I
Yeah.
always say the cleanup crew. I never really, you know, don't think of them as a cleanup crew necessarily. They're just more pets, is what they are.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sideshow. They're
Yeah,
Yeah,
always doing
they're
something,
fun.
crawling
Yeah,
around, fussing with
they're
each other.
fun to
The
watch.
hermit crabs can be fussy, but yeah.
I
The
would
only
say
thing
for
I
the
have
hermit
against
crabs.
cleanup crew, and in my 21 years, I've never had a cleanup crew, but the only thing I have against it is there are too many people that think the cleanup crew is solving their
It's
problems,
cleanup. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
that
really
Yeah.
not.
and it
that's
doesn't.
why I say don't think of them as a cleanup crew. Think of them as other pets. They're
Yeah.
Yeah.
pets. They're not
Yeah.
gonna clean your tank for you.
Now I was
No,
talking
because
to
they'll
Billy
yeah.
actually, and I found out that so the store I have near me, which I was a little bit disappointed to hear, but everything there, it's more normal, honestly. That everything there is wild caught. And I found out that my hermit crabs are not actually the hermit crabs. I was talking with Joey, actually. It was really funny because he told me like I think it was that he hadn't gotten the crabs he wanted, and he wanted the blue, I think they're called blue-eyed. And then he sent me a picture of like the one he actually got. And then I was like, wait a second, because I have the blue-eyed, or that's what I thought. And it turns out I don't actually have the blue-eyed, so they didn't sell me the right thing.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the ones that are fine, like the ones that I thought were the blue-eyed, they're fine. They're peaceful. I think they're called like hidden. I might be completely wrong when I say that, but I have a red one, so it's called an orange clawed hermit crab, and that one is really aggressive. That one is like trying to grab onto my seahorses constantly. Like it's a problem, but I don't really have anywhere to take the hermit crab, so he lives in there, and I pull him away during feeding time from the seahorses.
Trade him back to the
smack him
store.
on the shell.
Yeah.
Just smack him on the back of the shell.
Yeah.
My cleanup crew came with, I ordered a mix, and it was supposed to be like blue and red-legged hermits, and they're little guys, right? Well, I got mostly that. It was like a pack of 20 or something. This is when I first started out my tank, before I had the seahorses. So also in it were these ones, I found out later, I think they're called stripe-legged or zebra-legged hermit crabs.
Oh, yeah.
They get big. They get big. Yeah. I had them for years, and I was worried about them because they grew. They were like 2 inches big. But you know what? They grew up with the seahorses. So they never were a problem with the seahorses. All my cleanup crew, I got lucky, I guess, but they all thought of the seahorses, I guess, as the alphas of the tank. Nobody would ever mess with the seahorses, but they would come, and they'd come and eat out of the seahorse dishes with them and sit, on the edge and eat. And if I felt like they were getting in the way of the seahorses, I'd push them with the turkey baster, and push them back. And they learned. I never doubt the intelligence of animals anymore after some of the things I've seen. But these crabs learned to stay away while the seahorses were eating. And then they'd come and clean up, and have their meal after. And they were always careful when they were walking around. That was another thing I always worried about, because they have sharp feet. It's not just about them grabbing the seahorse or pinching it, but even just walking, they could poke a hole in seahorse skin. And these crabs were so careful, they would not step on the seahorse. They would carefully walk around. So they got to stay. They were well behaved, so they got to stay. But those things got huge, and they lived. My last 2 lived to, one made it to 5 years old, and one made it to 6 years old. And now the very last crab I have left, I call him Little Crab, because he was the little one. And I still have him. And yeah, he still does his thing, but never messes with the seahorses. So I got lucky.
Yeah, it depends on the crab, I would say. But my crabs are not that polite. They don't care if they go on the
Maybe you need to start shoving them around with your thing you use to feed them, like I started to push them out of the way, give them a push, say, hey, let's go leave the seahorse.
I do that like constantly, and no.
They have
makes
some
it like his
attitude.
life mission to get onto those seahorses.
What you do,
I just
Sophie?
call him away.
What you do, Sophie, is you get yourself a little tin of Old Bay seasoning, crab seasoning, and you put it next to the tent. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey,
An apron with a
Oh.
crab on it, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
you guys need to behave.
Yeah.
Leave the horses alone.
No, they know that they're too spoiled to. I could like. Some people have suggested I give them back to the store, but then I'm like too emotionally attached to my.
That's what I was saying. Well, you could trade them back, but I understand because I'm like that too. That's why I was always worried about my crabs. I'm like, oh, you guys don't hurt the seahorses. I would feel terrible, but I don't want to get rid of you either. I know, I get it.
Yeah.
And my
All
goby's funny too because my goby has a cave and that's his territory. And he doesn't go anywhere else really other than when I clean the tank. And then he has to go and hang out with the seahorses in the corner until I'm done. But if the seahorses get too close to his cave, he'll give them a nip. You know,
Oh, really?
he'll give them the what for. He's like, this is my door. Stay away from it.
My goby does nothing. Like he just waits until the pistol shrimp does it for him.
No, my goby has some attitude. He's got his little front porch area, and he hangs out with his face out of the cave. And if anybody gets too close in his little doorway, then he'll give him a nip. He doesn't hurt him, but he'll come out and peck at him. And
my goby is reliant on the pistol shrimp, so it's like he doesn't really need to do the work when the pistol shrimp do it for him.
So you have a codependent goby.
Yeah. Yeah, the goby would not survive without the pistol shrimp.
My goby
shrimp. I had a pistol shrimp at first. Like my first when I started out, part of the cleanup crew stuff before the seahorses, I had a goby and a pistol shrimp. And sadly, when we had that huge fire here, I had just set up the tank. I didn't have seahorses yet, but I'd had, you know, those fish for the first like 2 months. I'd just gotten them. And then we were evacuated for a month. So I lost them and I didn't find another pistol shrimp after that. I had peppermint shrimp, which were cool. I had a few of those, and those were a lot of fun. I like
those. They're fun. They're like, but they just steal all the food.
Mine were shy. Yours have an attitude. They're like my peppermint shrimp were too shy. They would not get close to the seahorses. They were afraid of them.
You know, mine are, like I have to physically like hit them with the pipette, like lightly. I'm not hitting the shrimp, but like I have to actually like hit them to make them go away.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we should log off for the night. We're getting to
it's getting late.
But we will talk next week. I promise we'll be here next week. I hope.
Nice.
Have we? Yes, Ray. I think we have covered everything he needs to know. He just wanted to know kind of what to do, but in the case where it's not anything, honestly, I would just kind of suggest what I already told him, just the water changes.
Yeah.
Constantly.
That's the main thing. And the thing about those kind of the bacterial infections and things, a lot of times those show up like way after the fact. Like sometimes what you see was based on the dissolved organics from 3 or 4 months ago. You know, it's a delayed reaction that the seahorses have to it. You know, I found.
Well, yeah, I'll kind of send him a message, sum up what we said. He'll probably watch the episode back as well. And
husbandry as well as the water changes, though.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
And the feeding regimen.
All right, yeah, I'll tell him that. But I think this is honestly a lot easier than what he expected. He wanted to like
medications and
he
stuff.
had to medicate. I'm not sure how easy it is to actually get any of those medications in Singapore, but well,
The main thing is
Oh,
clean
if-
water. I'll be honest, a lot of times, even if you medicate, if they have the bacterial infections, a lot of times you'll still lose them.
And
It's
again, there's a lot of the medications that for seahorses, the treatment is different than what the package says.
mhm,
Um,
true.
if you want to send them the medication list, I used to have it on my website that I can't access now because it looks like Angel Fire's out of business.
no.
But I have it on my computer here, and I can send it to you in a Word format, and then you can send it to him, and it's got all the most common medicines that are used for seahorses and the recommended treatments for them.
Okay. I will.
You want me to send that to you?
Yes. Yeah. Please send it to me, and I'll send it to him. But I mean, it's good news if he doesn't have to medicate them, and hopefully they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just trying his best, honestly, and I appreciate him reaching out, trying to figure out what's going on. Some
Yeah.
people.
Well, there's a
don't.
lot of people that don't bother reaching out like he did.
Yep. I know people like that who don't really, but so don't be afraid. Anyone who's watching, if you ever have problems, like don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed to like reach out. We all have our problems with our animals, seahorses, whatever. So and we love getting questions.
Yeah,
Anyways,
we all try to help each other out whenever we can.
yeah.
And Sophie, I just saw your seahorse in the back there swimming
Oh.
around,
Yeah.
making an appearance before we go.
She should be sleeping. I don't know why
Yeah.
she's not sleeping right now, but
Because she sees you, you're not sleeping either. She's like, "Hey, while
all
you're
my
there, how about a
animals go.
snack?"
Yeah, right.
All my animals, when I have my light on in my room, they're all like watching me, like, go to sleep, turn off the light. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Anyways.
mine get excited. They see me and they're like, "Hey, as long as you're sitting there, why don't you give us some food, lady?"
No. My bearded dragon, especially, she gets really angry. She'll like, because she's trying to fall asleep, but she can't fall asleep if there's any light in the room.
Yeah,
So she'll be like looking at me through like her
Has-
half open eyes.
she has one
Oh
eye
my
open.
gosh.
Yeah.
She's giving you the evil bearded
Yeah.
dragon eye.
Anyways.
Okay, folks.
She's giving you the evil dragon eye. Yeah, that's an
everybody.
evil dragon eye.
Pardon? Ray?
Good to see everybody, but I've got to leave now.
Yeah.
I'm-
All right.
uh,
We'll say Happy Wine
I have a
Wednesday,
bacon that I
everyone.
made up. I got to go slice it and get it in the freezer.
Of course you do, Ray.
Well, I gotta
Everybody,
get some.
thank you for having me again. I
All
did put
right.
my information there if anybody wants to contact me. In
Yeah, I
private,
saved it
so
on my phone, so
I
have
saved
All
it
right.
too.
have a good week,
Right.
evening, good week.
All right. Happy Wine Wednesday,
Happy
everyone. We'll see
Wine
you next
Wednesday,
week.
guys. Good night.